Hi all, today we're going to be talking about the P890, aka the 6-hour P220. So, the P890 is a very reliable pistol. It is your starter pistol that you have unlocked immediately upon beginning the game, and it is pretty okay with some caveats. It is usually very versatile and it can kill very quickly in close range, but the damage model falls off rapidly, and because it has a relatively low starting magazine size of 8 rounds, and the fire rate isn't that good, every single miss you make with this gun will be punished heavily until you can get a bigger magazine and better trigger to rectify these problems. But once it's fully built, it is a very competent pistol. It's a very fun to use pistol in close ranges. It's just, it takes a little while to get there. So, in my opinion, the P890 can be built two ways. You can either build it for aim down sights, or you can build it for hipfire. In the way of your camo challenges, I would recommend doing most of them in hipfire with the akimbo build, but of course you won't have that until extremely late, so you will just have to make do with the ADS build for the time being. So if you're going for the aim down sights build, what I really recommend here is, an optic of your choice and the long barrel available, the cottonmouth. Obviously the ADS laser will help you out significantly with aim down sight speed, but it's actually not that complicated of a build. Of course, you can drop the optic and take the grip instead if you want a recoil-reducing grip or if you want the sprint-to-fire grip, but I find that the P890's iron sights are not that good, and for that reason I personally like to put an optic on. So, when you're aiming down sights with it, obviously you are going to be, kind of holding corners. It doesn't work super well as a backup sidearm if you're bringing the aim down sight build, but if you want to primary it for camo challenges, it's probably the easier way to do it. It's pretty reliable once you get the 12-round magazine and the hair trigger for it, but until then, it can be a little rough. Also, if you're going to do your 3 kills without dying for gold in your long shot challenges and your headshot challenges, I would probably use this pistol aiming down sights. It's just more reliable that way than the hipfire build. But, provided you have the right map for it, aka shipment, the akimbo hipfire build is heaps of fun as well. So, we will grab that, because I can save mods now. So, the akimbo build actually doesn't look that different from the aim down sights build. You're still bringing the 12-round magazine and the hair trigger just to speed up your time to kill, and to, reduce the unreliability of the gun by having the bigger magazine. Then, I personally recommend taking the shortest barrel available. You could make the TAC ops work if you want to put the suppressor on, if you still need your suppressor challenge, but otherwise I'd probably go with the Venom, because you just gain more move speed that way. On your laser, of course, go with your hipfire laser. It's pretty simple if you're going akimbo, and of course take akimbo. In the way of tuning for this gun, I'd either recommend tuning for aim down sight speed with the ADS build, or for anything that will increase your maneuverability with the hipfire build. So that's about it for the P890 by itself. Now we're going to jump into a shipment game, because, where else to demonstrate how to easily use a pistol than the shipment game? Because at shipment, we're going to be bringing out the akimbo build personally, but the aim down sights build is quite good. They're both very competent picks, and, they're just, both the akimbo and the ADS P890 are very good. They just take a lot of leveling to get used to. Unfortunately, it's not a very good pistol out of the box, and that's just something you're going to have to work with. If you're just trying to grind this thing out, I'd recommend waiting for a shipment 2047, because then you can just, spray people to close range and knock the challenges out that way. But it works fine as a backup pistol, if you just want, a reliable backup for your primary, but I'd probably recommend bringing either the Glock 18 or the Glock 17, the X12 or the X13, if you really want, a super reliable backup pistol. Unfortunately, the P890 just suffers from being a little too punishing until you can get full attachments on it. So, we'll be bringing out the akimbo ones, and, I'm just going to kind of demonstrate what they're like in the average shipment game. So, it is a team deathmatch, which is perfect, and, yeah. If you're going to be going for the aim down sights build, you absolutely can make the pistols work in the shipment games, but, the hipfire builds, I really think are the way to go. If you're going to be just looking at doing your weapon mastery, say for your 100 gold kills, your 200 platinum kills, etc., I would definitely recommend the hipfire builds first. The aim down sight build is probably the more effective of the two builds, but honestly, the hipfire build is a lot more fun to use. It's, you just kind of run around shipment, just, spamming the mouse button, and you just click on people, and in that regard, it's a lot of fun. However, in maps that are not named shipment, I would probably go with the aimed down sight build. It's just a little bit more reliable. Unfortunately, because of the P890's relatively small magazine size, even with the upgraded 12 rounds, you don't have much room to miss. And in this regard, if you start missing, these pistols fall off extremely fast. They're not like the Glock 17s, or aka the X12s, where you can actually get away with missing rounds simply because you have a big enough magazine to do so. With these pistols, once you start missing rounds, your damage is just going to fall, and you're probably going to get gunned down before anything. So on the larger maps, you can probably make the akimbo ones work on Shoot House too, but I would probably just leave them to Shipment. But they are a ton of fun to use, you know? You just, you run around with them, and you just click the mouse button, and, well, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get the big kill streaks, other times you don't. Man, I hate people who just sit in the container. Annoying. Like, I know you're trying to stay alive, but I don't want to be banished to the container too, just because you're in the container. In the way of your general builds, I would, if you're going to be, like, of course, working on your P890 camo challenges, of course, primary them. Otherwise, they work as a fine backup to just about anything. That said, I probably would not back them up to any of the marksman rifles or the sniper rifles, just because with those weapons, you're probably better off with the Glock 18s just have a full auto secondary. But once you get them leveled, the P890s are just as good as most of the other pistols. It's just getting them leveled that's a real challenge. And in that regard, I think just leveling them in Shipment, like, with most weapons, let's be real, is probably the way to go with that gun. So, we're just going to continue this game of Shipment, play out the game. I'm just going to keep showing you, what this gun is like for an average player in an average game. Of course, it's Shipment 24/7, so that's, it's not always going to be like this, but, Shipment is honestly where most of the pistols shine, especially the P890s compared to other options, because I had no ammo. Because while the X12s, they have a high magazine, good fire rate, aren't very punishing to use, they don't kill super quick. But the P890s, provided you are actually, landing your bullets, it's a very fast kill. You're looking at a 2-shot kill at super close range. And in that regard, in Shipment, when you have the akimbo build, these things drop people absurdly quick without being as slow to fire as, say, the Deagles. And in that regard, they're very fun to use. It's just, if you don't have the luck of the bullets landing, or you don't have the mechanical aim to truly benefit from the aimed down sights build, they're a little rough, and I would probably recommend going to the X12s or the X13 elsewhere. And, that's just the way they are. They're not bad. I think they're a fine introductory pistol, but I kind of wish they'd started players off with the X12s instead, just because they're just a little bit easier to use and a little bit better out of the box. Unfortunately, there are just some weapons in this game that need attachments to truly feel good, and the P890s are. So, it's not bad, it's just, it's gonna take a little bit to get used to them. I personally hated these pistols until I had enough, ammo in them to get the, or had enough XP in them to get the hair trigger and the 12-round magazine. Because with a stock trigger and the 8-round mag, you miss 1 or 2 shots and you're either dead or, you're severely limited on your remaining magazine. And it just made them feel really mediocre to use because, if you didn't have the mechanical aim to land every hit with them, they're just not that good. But, once you get the attachments for them, they are plenty fun pistols, You'll have success with them. They're going to take a little bit of skill and some luck to get used to, especially if you're trying to make them work on a map that's not called Shipment, especially if you're going with a hipfire build. But if you can get them down, it is a good pistol. Unfortunately, I do think you're better off learning the X13 or the X12, or even the Desert Eagle, for the amount of time it'll take you to get the P890s up. Honestly, I would probably avoid these unless you're, looking to knock out, platinum pistols. Unfortunately, the other pistols available are just kind of better. But they're fine pistols, and, for being the starter ones you get, they're fine. I just don't think they're anything to be truly excited over. They don't feel particularly funny to use. It's not like the X13s where you can akimbo mag dump 50 rounds. Or the Akimbo Desert Eagles, where you can literally click people across the map. Or even the Basilisk, where, you know, it's funny to hit people in the chest with 500 Smith & Wesson. It's just... they just feel like, you know, standard pistols. There's not anything super special about them, unfortunately, outside of their really good close-range kill. So, you know, they're fun to use, but they're fun to use, but they're not funny to use, if that makes any sense. You know, it's still inherently fun to just spam akimbo rounds downrange. I think I was final kill. That's quite unfortunate. But, unfortunately, you know, the other pistols are arguably a bit more fun to use. They're not bad. They're just nothing special. That's really what I can say about the P890. They're not bad pistols by any means. They're just kind of... eh. You know? So... that's about all I have to say on these things. You know... it's been a while since I've done anything in Modern Warfare 2, so let's try and get that going again, shall we? So, yeah. Thank you all, and I will see you tomorrow, so...